Welcome into WarEagleTV.com, everybody. A sad day for the Auburn family on this Friday afternoon as the news is breaking that Lionel Little Train James has passed away at the age of 59, a cornerstone of Pat Dye's teams at Auburn in the early 1980s, the leading rusher on the 1981 team. Coach Fred Riley is with us, who was at Auburn in 1982 for the season there with Lionel. Of course, I was at Auburn at the same time. And Fred, I think I mentioned to you last football season, that was one of my great memories of Auburn football, that 87-yard run against the Georgia Bulldogs that Lionel had. I think only one upper deck on the stadium at that time, but that was the loudest I've ever heard Jordan-Hare Stadium up to that point.
Yeah, I mean, Randy, we run the triple option into the boundary, and Randy actually missed the read, and he pitched the ball off of the give keep read guy when he missed it, and pitched it to Lionel, and Lionel makes the pitch key guy miss in space, makes him miss and runs for a touchdown. I mean, numbers wise, everything on paper says they've got us. But their outside backer, strong safety body person there could not tackle him right there in space. And of course, he knocks the goalpost down. And one of the great moments of that season.
150 pounds, maybe wringing wet. And you wouldn't think a guy like that could play, against the Alabamas or whoever during that period. But they ran the wishbone. He was Bo Jackson and Tommy Agee's running mate. Of course, Randy Campbell, as you mentioned, was the quarterback. And man, did he make an impact on Auburn football, not only running the football, but I just remember all those runs in the wishbone when he was leading the way for Bo Jackson and knocking those people down.
Lionel was, again, you mentioned a leading rusher from one year to the lead blocker for 65% of the offense the next year. And great teammate, a great competitor. I can remember, Bud Casey would say, it don't matter how big you are, Lionel, and linebackers' knees only weigh about 6 pounds. and Lionel could time the cut block in the triple option offense, loading those linebackers better than anybody I've ever seen. I mean, just flipping people on their heads constantly. And again, with that kind of unselfish guy that he was. And he got his totes. He got the ball plenty. But at the end of the day, he went from being a leading rusher on an SEC football team to a guy who accepted his role because he wanted to win. And that says, a tremendous amount about him as a person.
Mm-hmm. And no doubt a great football player. Even though he was small, he went on to the National Football League with the Chargers and was the NFL's all-purpose leader his first year in the National Football League.
And I don't recall that he returned punts and kicks at Auburn. I don't remember that. And it's something that he developed in the NFL, which is again another tribute to him. I got to find a way to make this team. I got to find a way to stick. So like guys today that these All-American receivers that cover punts. I mean, he was, so I've got to find another way to stick in the NFL, and he developed a couple of more skills and was great at it.
Yeah. Of course, reaction pouring in today from everybody that was at Auburn, Randy, all his teammates, Tommy Agee, David Housel, who was the sports information director at the time. David said he was kind of the picture of Auburn football back then, the big heart. You remember him after the Tennessee game in 1981 with tears in his eyes after the loss to the Volunteers. And it kind of reminds you, Fred, of what Auburn's going through right now, that change in philosophy. And that's kind of what Pat Dye's teams were going through then.
I mean, certainly. And there, a lot of folks thought it was crazy. It was the Ohio State, Michigan kind of way of doing things, where you're going to bring in a Coach Bryant guy and run the same offense, run the same defense as Alabama does, and they've got better guys than you do. How does that make any sense? And and Schembechler did it at Michigan when he went to Michigan. He put the Ohio State offense in, the Ohio State defense in, and he said, basically, we're going to practice against Ohio State every day. But Coach Dye, we're going to practice against Alabama every day in the spring, every day in the summer, And as we've talked about, it'll take 60 minutes to beat them. And in 82, we did just that.
Yeah. And Lionel kind of epitomized that. Maybe not, he definitely wasn't a 5-star recruit, but he was there in 1981, the leading rusher on the team. And 1982, of course, history was made with Bo over the top. Lionel was a big part of that. And then 83, he was there again, the first time that Pat Dye's teams won the SEC championship, took it all the way through to Athens, Georgia.
Well, and when you go somewhere and you're trying to teach people how to win, there's got to be a few people in there that are winners, that are immediately going to buy into what you're doing it can help you win the locker room. And Lionel James was one of those guys at Auburn during that stretch.
Yeah, absolutely. He will be missed, and certainly a lot of people are heartbroken this afternoon with the news. Appreciate you joining us, Coach. And
thanks for having me.
We'll talk to you again very soon. War Eagle.
Very good. War Eagle.